Hey, howdy y'all! I wanted to make a video about natural family planning and what 1 year of using the Marquette method has looked like for me. I started in last December I was learning the method in November. To know like fully natural family planning and all the nuances of each method, it takes quite a while to get like comfortable with it. So I took that course online through Feminine Genius, which was good because it was self-paced and I could go back and look at any instruction I like. So essentially how natural family planning works is it identifies like the parts of your cycle in order to pinpoint your fertile days. So a woman's cycle always starts with menstruation. And after that you go into your follicular phase, which is leading up to ovulation. Your energy is increasing. This also helps with like when you work out, like when should you run, when should you lift weights. There's a lot of good Instagram people out there that talk about this. So after your follicular, you head into your ovulatory, and this is when an egg drops and that egg can be fertilized and you can potentially get pregnant. So my husband and I, before we got married, were thinking, okay, we should not get pregnant for just a few months, so we're not moving while we're 9 months pregnant because I would just become a mess. So we pinpointed those days of ovulation. And what I realized was I have such a long cycle that many like period tracker apps would be like, oh, you ovulated right in the middle of your cycle, where it was more like I ovulated around day 40, which is very uncommon. Most people ovulate around day 15 or 20, so mine was very, very late. So by tracking your hormones, in my NFP method, I could pinpoint like exactly when I was going to ovulate. So some NFP methods will use mucus, so I did use mucus, but it wasn't the main tracker. Some use hormones, so my method used a urine sample for hormones to check estrogen and luteinizing hormone. Your estrogen steadily rises as you head towards ovulation and drops off, whereas luteinizing hormone, which triggers an egg to drop, is like right before ovulation. So with the Marquette method, you're using one of these like test sticks, and you're testing your estrogen. Pretty much the monitor is getting that baseline of your estrogen level right after your period, and it's going to notice like, hey, your estrogen rises. After that, you're going to continue to get high readings. That's what it was made for, to get pregnant, but the Marquette method uses it to either avoid or get pregnant. So you're going through, you're getting high readings. Eventually you're going to get a peak reading. That means your luteinizing hormone has peaked, and if you want to get pregnant, that's when you should be having, and if you do not, you're abstaining, that's when you should be abstaining. So a pro of Marquette is that I felt like it was more objective to me. It was difficult with long cycles personally, but I didn't feel confident enough in tracking my mucus. I needed like someone to say like, okay, this is when your estrogen rising, this is when your LH is rising. So even if the monitor wasn't working for me that cycle, like I had wasted like 26 and I'm like, okay, my cycle's just way too long, there was always these ovulation test strips, which are sometimes called OPKs, ovulation predictor kits, even though it's just a little stick, and it's similar to the monitor stick where you dip it in urine and it will give you a result of either you have luteinizing hormone present or you do not. But I wanted something that had a little more. I didn't want to be taking my temperature, which is what symptothermal methods often do. They take your temperature and your mucus. But I didn't really want to do that. That's also how Natural Cycles tracks. It's a symptothermal method essentially, but it does differ from NFP in what I've seen on their resources. They also have a lower efficiency rate, so if you want to do Natural Cycles, just know that's a 93% efficiency rate, whereas if you do like a natural family planning method, that's 98 to 99% efficiency, depending on how perfectly you're tracking and how precise you are. So the cons of doing the Marquette method would probably be the price point. So it might depend on the length of your cycles, how many test sticks and monitor sticks you're using. But for me, I'd say it costs about $20 to $30 a month. But that also depends on how long my cycle is. That can be a double-edged sword because since my periods are longer, I'm using less in a year, if that makes sense, because I have less cycles overall to test, but I might be using more sticks and more monitor sticks to track that because my cycles are very long. So within marriage, the Marquette method takes a whole new meaning. My husband and I probably didn't anticipate like how difficult it will be to abstain when your body literally wants to make a baby. Like the days leading up to ovulation, you like feel your best, you feel most confident. So you as a married couple will want to engage in the marital act. We only used NFP for 3 months, but I know that in the future we're going to have to use it to space kids for health reasons, for financial reasons, whatever those may look like. So it's definitely more difficult, just on your own than with your husband. So my advice, like, to engage women out there that want to use NFP, like, think about your fiance and think about, like, how selfless he will be when it comes to making sacrifices necessary for your marriage and maybe for your health. Because if you just take birth control pills, if you just use condoms, there's a lot less dying to self in that. In this, like, we're Christians, we truly have to take up our cross. You also may require, like, lubricant on your infertile days, because like I said before, mucus can be an indicator of your fertility. Your body literally lubricates around your days of ovulation, so when you're infertile, that lubricant will not be there as much. That's about all I have. Just a reminder, like, this was not medical advice. If you have questions, I would reach out to an NFP professional. Within the Marquette method, all of the women and instructors are either nurses or doctors. They all have some medical background, which I really liked, and they can help advocate for you if there's something wrong with your cycle. Yeah, please drop any questions you may have in the comments, and I might try my best to answer them. Thanks so much.